Accessible.org currently doesn't have any reviews or testimonials. And the primary reason why is I don't ask for them. And the reason why I don't ask for them is because I don't think clients owe us a review simply because they've made a purchase from us. And this all flows from a client first approach. And so when I think about the optimal client experience, it doesn't include being solicited for feedback or a review or a case study. And this all leads to the graphic that's on the screen with me titled Reviews and Testimonials. And there are three columns. So let's go through the client first column first. So the first bullet point is client doesn't owe us a review. The second bullet point is how does me asking for a testimonial help the client? It doesn't. There's also the matter of client privacy. So when it comes to digital accessibility, we know there are compliance implications. We also know that there is serial litigation in the United States. So many clients don't want to draw attention to themselves. Moreover, it's not in the client's best interest to draw attention to the client. So that's another consideration. There is also the fact that I don't post logos of clients. And this is an in-between aspect that happens with all industries, right? We see logos being posted on websites, and a lot of times the service provider or the product owner is assuming that they can go ahead and do this and that the client's okay with this. But I don't I work with some of the biggest companies in the world, some of the biggest entities in the world. I still don't feel like it's appropriate for me to assume that I can post their logo on accessible.org. Maybe they'd be okay with it, but maybe they would dislike it. And I don't want to do anything that the client isn't aware of. And that leads to the third column, which we'll get to in a moment. But some other examples of how accessible.org takes a client first approach. We work quickly. There are no long delays. When you are a prospective client and you are interested in services, everything is right to the point. There are no demos, unnecessary demos. There is no hiding the price that gets into transparency again. And there are no drawn out processes. Everything is as quick as we can provide it to you. That's what we do. And so that just is, I say that to solidify that there really is a client first approach. It's not just in regard to reviews and testimonials. This is pervasive throughout the client experience. So the next column I have is organic recommendations, and that's what I really want. I really want real recommendation. I want accessible.org's name to come up in real discussions and real talk, and that's what's happening. I've talked to a number of prospective clients who approach me and they tell me that they were referred to me by another person. And this is you can't fake this. You can't fake organic discussion that's happening independent of you. So you'll see that some let's call them we'll call them loosely companies. Some companies or agencies in this space or vendors will have 5 stars on their website. They will post emojis that show up in the search results. They can do this through structured data. These are things that can be faked or that can be generated, but you can't do that with real discussion, and that's what I'm after. And then another point here is when everything's on the line, who do you choose? And this could even go back to some of the other digital accessibility companies. Would they, in fact, choose themselves if they had to make sure that their digital asset was WCAG conformant? Think of it in terms of, if you had to if you had to choose one person to shoot a free throw that decided whether or not you lived or died, who would you choose? So, people will automatically say Larry Bird or Steph Curry or whoever it is. And that's what I want. That's similarly what I want with accessible.org. If you had to choose one person that you were going to go through for accessibility, who would you choose? And when people have to make that decision, if we're in that situation where someone actually has to make a decision, I want them to say accessible.org. And this all leads to a long-term approach. There is no short-term approach here. This is very much We're looking into the future and longevity, and I want the reputation of accessible.org to be sterling. And so it's not about simply selling something because I can. It's not about the fact that many clients are at an information disadvantage and they're relying upon me to tell them, what I recommend. I'm not going to recommend any more than is necessary, and that is because I take a long-term approach. And so obviously, right, a review would be appreciated. So if someone leaves a review, that's going to be greatly appreciated, but it's never asked for. In fact, on in one of my in my WCAG course, which is training on the web content accessibility guidelines, at the end there is an offer. Like if you want to be featured for having trained your staff on accessibility, there's the opportunity to be featured. If you would like to leave feedback or a review or a testimonial, but I'm never going to ask for a review for someone just because I don't think I'm owed a review. I don't feel like the client should be burdened to have to come up with one. So I'm not going to go that route. And then now we've arrived at the third column, which is quality and transparency. So this gets into why I think people still choose accessible.org anyway. So one way you can get a feel for you can get an expectation for what your client experience might be like is through the information. So this channel is a good example. Our blog is another good example, along with all of the resources that are provided through accessible.org, mostly for free. There's actually helpful information. So when you read the blog posts, when you read the pages on accessible.org, what you will notice is a common theme is that it's written in plain English in a way that is easy to understand and beginner friendly, and that you can take action from. And that can't be said for most of the other content in this industry. And so just by way of the information and resources provided, you get a really good preview into what you can expect as a client. Also, what you can expect is transparency. It's just, not only is it ethical, it's just easier to run the business this way, is to provide transparency throughout. So the pricing, if you want to get an idea of how much you can expect to pay, that's on the website. In fact, I'll link to that in the description for this YouTube video. And then we provide excellent quality services. And that's also going to help us with the referrals, with the organic discussion. Even though many of our clients don't exactly know, like they couldn't check us to see right whether or not that our audit was thorough. It is. And that is because we put in the groundwork, and I work through the contractors. I am very discerning of the contractors that I work with, and anybody that I feel isn't going to match up with my standards and my expectations, I will cease work with immediately. And so that means that we only have the best contractors, and you're going to get excellent quality services. And that's because I insist upon it. Again, this is the long game for me. This isn't something where I'm trying to get as many clients in as possible so that my end of year revenue looks the best. No, I lose clients, and that I'm okay with that, because I know what I'm always going to provide is an excellent quality or service, and I offer that at a competitive price. So I'm very confident in that, and I think eventually, in fact, I know eventually it's already happening, but eventually that's going to seep into the marketplace where it's going to become obvious. Hey, if you want something that is rock solid, where you know what to expect, where you're going to be treated well, then you're going to go to accessible.org. If you want to play roulette and hope for the best, then you're going to go with someone else. And so, right along with transparency, I have here clear timelines and expectations, confidence. You'll have confidence in choosing the right provider. I just talked about that. And I'm never going to hurt any of our clients. So I want every client to be better off for having worked with us. And so we can always work through everything. And then if not, we can reach a good endpoint, right? So this is just to say, I want clients to have the best experience possible. And so for that reason, I don't feel like clients should be burdened with providing me a review and just having to wonder, do we want to provide a review? Is this something where we want to be featured on an accessibility website? Maybe we don't want the spotlight on us, etc. There are so many reasons why I think reviews and testimonials in this industry, um, they just they're difficult. It's a difficult aspect because it's not like you purchased, let's say, a dog bed. It's not, and there's a dog bed right next to me. It's not like you purchased a dog bed and you're leaving a review on Amazon. This is something where there are other considerations in play, and so what I try to do is, of course, again, of course, I'd love to have a review, but instead of having reviews, I want the quality to shine through. So if you need help with accessibility or training, or if you'd like to reach out to me directly, I will include links in the description, not only to our pricing page, but also also our contact page so that you can reach me directly.